What's up? What's good, world? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Plutonian, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make every single omelet from Neopets. So if you visit the Giant Omelet once a day, you're allowed a one omelet. So these are the ones I made. I try to make them as accurate as possible, try to get the colors right and everything. This one right here is the twirly fruit omelet, and then this is the sausage omelet. Here's another one. Here's a chocolate omelet. So all of the materials I used are polymer clay, and I used a little bit of paint for some of them. Alright, so let's get into it. Here is a close-up of all of the omelets I'll be showing you how to make, and you could see they're just full of detail, full of life, and they look so freaking cute. I love how all of them turned out. They're just, this is a dream come true, having all of these omelets. So what I did is I took a block of polymer clay and I used white as a base. So in order to get 36 little omelets, I needed to roll out clay and make 36 little balls. This took a while because I wanted them all to be the exact same thickness and like be the exact same. So just roll out 36 little balls and try to get them the same thickness and everything. Now that I have all of those little balls rolled out, I'm going to take one and I'm going to start squishing it. So all of the omelets have like a rectangular shape. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this one a little rectangle and I'm going to flatten it out. And I'm going to get it as flat as possible and even all over. Next, I'm just going to fold this in half. And I want one side to be a little bit longer because I noticed that the omelet kind of rolls over, it folds over. So it's going to have this little shape right here. So I'm going to make all 36 exactly like this. It took me like an hour because I wanted it perfect. I wanted it all smooth and everything. So just do this step 35 more times. Okay, next I'm taking some rubbing alcohol, and my clay kind of picked up some dirt and like random little things. So I'm going to use this just to clean up all of my clay. So I'm keeping this by my side during the whole time working with this project because random dirt will just appear. So I'm using this to clean up my clay and make it nice and pretty, and it even smooths everything out quick. All of the omelets have this eggy yellowish color, so what I'm going to do is take some makeup palettes. I got both of these at TJ Maxx, and with a dry paintbrush, I'm going to dip it into the yellow powders. So I'm referencing the plain omelet, and I'm looking at it closely to kind of see where I need a shade and how yellow to make it. They're not extremely yellow, like they're not vibrant yellow or anything. They're just a like tad bit yellow with a lot of white. So I kind of overshaded it a little bit, but I go back in and I clean it up with some alcohol, and you could see like the difference shading makes. I feel like shading really brings the omelet to life and gives it that like, oh wow, this is a little tiny omelet. But yeah, you could see I'm using like this tan yellow and this darker yellowy mustardy color, and then I'm just shading all over. And I did overshade, so I'm going back in with the alcohol and cleaning them up, because if you look at the plain omelet, it is like a little bit white in some areas. So yeah, do that all 36 times and you're ready to rock, ready to make some more. So here I'm referencing the rotten omelet. I'm taking this yellow and this like pale yellow, and I'm mixing those two colors together, just squishing them around. So the rotten omelet has that like weird splattered cheese on it. So what I'm going to do is take some of my clay tools and push the clay around, referencing the photo, just really looking at it and trying to replicate the shape that it has. And then you'll see throughout all of these omelets, they have the same shape. Like a lot of them have this little splat on it. So this is like a common technique you'll see throughout the omelets. Some of them are different, but a lot of them have this little splat thingy on it. I made 5 of these total. Here's my rotten omelet and my cheese omelet. They look the exact same. And then, so I made those 2, and then I made 3 more to make 3 different omelets. Now I'm taking some glow-in-the-dark clay, and I made a little rectangular chunk. And then I'm just slicing that in half, and I'm going to slice those in half. And then I'm going to squish the clay into like little moon C shapes, and I'm using this tool to help me get that nice curve. And these are the onions. For the onions, I wanted a translucent looking clay, so that's why I picked out glow in the dark. And here I'm just squishing them and firmly pressing them in the clay so that they will stick and it'll last and they'll just stay on there. And here is our cheese and onion omelet. Now is our ham and cheese omelet. So I'm taking this redishy, orangey color clay, and I'm just slicing it into little tiny pieces, and I'm going to try to make it like a triangle. I'm referencing the photo to really get the shape down, and then I'm firmly pressing those into the clay, and here's our ham and cheese omelet. So that completes all the like yellowy splat omelets. Now I'm moving on to the sausage and pepperoni. Now taking some dark brown clay for the sausage, I'm going to cut 3 tiny little pieces and then 3 pieces a little bit bigger than that. And then just rolling them into balls. Once they are all rolled out, I'm taking some red clay for the pepperoni, rolling that into a log, and then cutting out 4 even pieces of clay, and then rolling those into balls. Once they're all rolled out, I'm going to take my omelet and I'm going to squish the ball so it makes this flat circle, and then I'm going to firmly press that into the clay. So then you can see they're pepperoni and they're all cute and tiny. And now I'm taking the sausage and I'm going to add those all over the clay. And then with my dotting tool, I'm going to go in and texturize the sausage so they look like a little chunk of meat. And there is our sausage and pepperoni omelet. So cute, so adorable. This one came out perfect. Now for the sausage omelet, I'm going to do the exact same thing, just not make any pepperoni. So I'm taking the 6 little pieces, the big ones, the small ones, rolling them into balls, and then I'm going to add them onto the omelet and then texturize with this little dotting tool. And here is our sausage omelet. For the barbecue omelet, I'm going to take some red and brown and I'm going to mix it together but not fully, so I have this like super cool marble effect for the barbecue. And then I'm just going to cut in little strips of 4 and then I'm going to add that onto the clay. I didn't really like it, so I took the strips off and kind of pinched it and pulled it to make it look exactly like the photo. And then that way I got the right shape. And then it has minor little details of red, so I'm taking a tiny bit of red clay and then adding that all over the omelet. And here's the barbecue sauce omelet. Now moving on, the green pepper omelet is extremely easy. I just took some green clay and I made these tiny little balls, and then I'm going to add them all over the clay. So it's really easy. You just want to look at the photo and make sure you got the sizes right, and you just add them all over. And then I'm going to make 2 of those for the next one. So here is our green pepper omelet, and then taking some more of those green little balls and now some orange clay, I'm going to cut out some teeny tiny little logs for our carrots. This one is the carrots and peas. So this one, super easy. Like, you don't need to be a sculptor to do this one. This one is really fun, really cute, really adorable. So I just rolled out teeny tiny little logs, 4 of them, and then I'm going to add them all over the omelet. And just firmly pressing everything in so that I know that it sticks and it stays and it'll last forever. And I got this tool at Dollar Tree too if you needed to help you with clay. And then here is our carrot and pea omelet. Now taking some dark red clay, I'm going to roll out a tiny little log, and then I'm going to cut little tiny pieces out. And I want some to be bigger than others, so some are going to be big, some are going to be small. And then I'm going to flatten those into tiny little rectangles. And with my little needle tool, I'm going to make these little indents so they look like bacon. And then here are the little bacon ones, and then I'm going to do that 6 more times, or 5 more times. So there's going to be 6 total, 3 big ones, 3 little ones. They kind of look like little bow ties too, but they're teeny tiny little pieces of bacon. And then I'm going to take this tool and then add them onto the omelet. So I'm going to add the big ones first and then go in with the 3 little ones. And here's our bacon omelet. I'm going to repeat that step again for this one. It's like the bacon and broccoli omelet. So I'm going to do that exact same thing, but this time we're going to add some broccoli. So once you got that, I'm going to add some dark green and some light green. I'm going to cut little pieces up, and then I'm going to make 4 little dots, and then I'm going to add tiny little chunks of that lime green into the dark green, and then I'm going to use this dotting tool to just dot it all over so it gets that broccoli effect. And then I'm going to just add it onto the omelet and then dot it some more. You could see it gives it that nice realistic effect of broccoli, and here's our bacon and broccoli omelet. For the next one, I'm taking light green and dark green, and I have different length logs that I'm rolling out, and then I'm going to twist them to give them this swirly effect like a candy cane. I'm going to roll them out and get them as swirly as possible, just following the method of like how to make a candy cane. You just twist these colors together, you swirl them around, and I'm trying to like get it to do this nice marble effect, like this cute little candy cane slice. Then I'm going to slice that out, roll those out, and then twist and twist and twist. So twist and roll, trying to get them as unique as possible, just doing this a bunch of times. And then once I got it to a way I like it, I'm going to like shape it and sculpt it referencing this twirly fruit omelet as close as possible, just making these random little shapes and then sticking it onto the clay. This is the twirly fruit omelet, so I am trying to swirl up the clay and give it this like cute little swirl shape. And then you could just see I'm like taking tiny pieces, big pieces, and adding it onto the omelet. So this omelet is stuffed. So I'm taking a tool and I'm kind of separating the middle part of the omelet, and I'm stuffing in some clay in there so that way there's like twirly fruit oozing out. And there is our twirly fruit omelet. Now this next one is super easy. I'm taking some red clay and flattening out and cutting out teeny tiny little pieces, like rectangular pieces, like some are rectangular, some are square, and then one is a little tiny circle, and then adding those onto the omelet. And this one is the tomato omelet, so I'm just like adding them all over. And I adjust everything to make sure it looks just like the photo. And here is our cute little tomato omelet. So for the next one, you're going to repeat that. And this one, we're going to take some green. And I'm using this tool to like get the right shapes. But I have like this oval shape, a circle. And then I combined these two circles together to get this like figure 8 shape. And then adding those onto the omelet. And just firmly placing everything down. And here's our tomato and pepper omelet. For the next one, I'm going to add some yellow and some orange into this red so I get this like really neon-y red color. And then I'm going to roll that out into a log and cut that into tiny little pieces for some detail. Now taking a piece and rolling that out really, really thin, and then just cutting up these little pieces. So basically you want 4 circles, 2 long logs, and then 4 tiny little pieces. And then with the longer pieces, I'm going to use my tool to help make them like this 3 shape and then add it on. And then I'm using my dotting tool to add some texture. And that's the spicy red pepper omelet. For the next one, I made these custom colors. It's like a dark brown and then a brown mixed with red. So with the brown mixed with red, I'm going to cut out 4 little chunks and I'm going to roll them into tiny little balls and then squish them and flatten them down. Once I have that, I'm going to roll out the red in a log and then flatten it down. And then I'm going to do that to the brown as well. So roll it in a log and then flatten it. Next, I'm going to take this little razor and then cut out teeny tiny little squares. And do that for the red as well. Once those are all cut out, these are the shapes you want to have. I'm going to place all of the little circles in the lighter brown all over the omelet. And then using this texture tool, you could use a toothbrush if you have anything or something pokey. I'm going to texturize it so it's like this nice sausagey looking meat stuff texture. And then I'm going to add all the little rectangles and the dots. And here is the meat feast omelet. Now taking blue, red, and green, I'm going to start sculpting. So this one, I'm looking at the reference photo and I'm just pinching and pulling the clay. I did make it a little too big, so I had to go back in and resize everything so it'll fit nicely on the omelet. But I'm using my fingers to sculpt, also this dotting tool. And then I do end up cutting off some excess to make them smaller. But for the most part, I'm just pinching and pulling. So the closest thing I could really come up with for the shape I was going for is like a shark tooth. So it's like a triangular shape, but it has these rounded corners, these rounded edges. And then once I went to go place it onto the omelet, I realized I made them a little too big. So here I'm just readjusting them, kind of pinching and pulling and taking away any excess clay that won't fit. And I'm just playing with it until I get it perfect and they all fit onto the omelet. Using these tools to help me get the desired shape. And here is our fresh fruit surprise omelet. For the next one, I rolled out a teeny tiny log of orange clay and I'm rolling the clay around, just like looking at the photo, bending the clay, just like rolling it, shaping it weird, and then adding it onto the omelet. And each shape is going to be different, and I'm using my tool to kind of help make squiggly lines all over until I get this super cute honey blossom omelet. This one was my favorite to make, so I'm taking this glittery teal and this red, this dark red, and I'm cutting out a bunch of teeny tiny slivers of the teal, rolling it out just like I did with the honey blossom omelet, and I'm just placing random little shapes all over. I kind of went for like a leech. I was imagining like little leeches all over the place. Now I'm taking some red, rolling that out and taking the tiniest littlest bit of clay and then adding that onto each of the teal. With my razor, I'm just like adding it sloppily all over because I'm going to go in with my dotting tool and smooth it all out and really press it firmly into that till so it stays secure and it's firmly in there. And here is the hot Tyranian pepper omelet. For the next one, I'm taking this light blue and then that teal we just used, and I am flattening out a ball of the light blue. And then with my razor, I'm kind of drawing out this like splatter shape similar to the first omelet I made, using my dotting tool to help smooth out all of the edges and get it the exact shape I want it to look like. And then using my fingers to kind of like smooth out any harsh edges. Also alcohol to just help it blend all together. And then adding that onto my omelet. And taking a little bit of teal, just cutting tiny little slices and adding that all over the omelet. And just firmly pressing it in using my dotting tool to make sure it's nice and secure. I think this one is pronounced Juppie omelet, Juppie omelet, Juppie omelet. Not sure. For the next one, I'm taking a magenta and a lilac, and I'm rolling the magenta out into the log and then cutting out 7 little slices and rolling those all out into balls and then shaping them into like a teardrop shape. Then adding them onto the omelet. Then once they're all on the omelet, I'm taking my dotting tool and kind of giving them little fish tails. So you want to go for like a goldfish shape, like the goldfish crackers. And I'm using the dotting tool to like smear the clay over there, push it over there, and define it all. Now taking some alcohol and I'm smoothing out all of that clay. Now taking some lilac clay and I'm doing the exact same thing, but I want it to be in the center, like right in the middle. So it looks like the magenta is outlining it. This one was so fun to make. Like, it was so freaking cute. And I'm using alcohol to kind of blend it all and smooth everything out. But this is the cutest little fishy omelet. So for the next one, I'm taking some lime green clay and some pink clay. And first, I'm cutting out lime green little slivers and I'm just adding them all over the omelet, kind of like how we did with the honey blossom and the hot Tyranian pepper. So yeah, I'm just cutting off a little sliver, adding it all over, and here I am going in with the pink. And with Neopets, I never know how to pronounce things. I think this one is the Uga melon omelet. Not sure if it's Uga melon. I like Uga melon. Like, that sounds more Tyranian, more like prehistoric and everything. Now for this one, I'm taking some like green mixed with gray. It's like this weird dark grayish color. And I'm doing the exact same steps that we did to make all of these omelets. So roll out a ball, flattened it into a rectangle, and then I rolled that over, like folded it over so it was like this omelette-y shape. So the basic omelet shape that we made in the beginning. And then it has these like weird little drips all over it. And I'm just adding that all over. And then it was stuffed. So this is like this whole thing is one color. So I'm just adding that all over and then smoothing out any harsh clay lines with some alcohol. And then here we have our clay omelet. OMG, we're doing the chocolate omelet. Okay, so I'm taking this dark chocolatey brown color, doing the exact same thing, rolling a ball, flattening out into a rectangle, and then getting it into this nice, like perfectly flat rectangle, folding it over like a taco, and then leaving a little space to fold that over, just like we did for the rest of our omelets, you know. And then I got this cute little rectangular omelet shape. And then this has a splat on it. So I'm rolling out a circle, flattening that out. And then I'm using my blade cutter and I'm just sketching out, like drawing the shape of a splatter, just like we did for the first rotten omelet, the cheese omelet, all of that stuff. Just doing the exact same thing, but in a chocolate version. This one is my favorite one. This is like, I don't know why I think it's so cute. And it's so weird because it's like a chocolate. Is it chocolate or is it an egg? Like, I don't know. Is it egg mixed with chocolate? I don't know. But here is our beautiful chocolate omelet. Now taking some light orange and some red, I'm going to roll out a little tiny red log. And then I'm going to cut 2 pieces the exact same, like 2 little strips. And then one way bigger. So it's going to be a little smiley face. So you want the bigger one for the smile and then the top ones for the eyes, and you want them to be the same exact size. And then for the orange, I'm rolling out a super big log and I'm cutting like a bazillion tiny little pieces out, and these are going to be the rice. And this one is stuffed, so I'm going to separate the middle part, just like open it up and then stuff a bunch of tiny little orange logs. I have trypophobia, so this one definitely triggered something. I know it's not holes, but it's like little something. It's like freaky. It scared me. But anyway, this is our rice omelet. The next one, I'm taking that color that I made for the clay omelet, and then this is glow in the dark. So I'm rolling out a tiny little log of glow in the dark clay, and then I rolled out that dark grayish clay, and then I flattened it as thin as possible, and then I'm completely covering and encasing the glow in the dark log that I made, and I'm like cutting around it, and then I'm rolling it over that so it's like a cane. And then I'm slicing little tiny pieces, and then these are going to create a nice little mushroom. So I'm going to add those all over the clay, and you want it to be a half a circle. So you see how the bottom is flat and the top is like circular and ovally. And then I'm taking some more of that grayish clay, and I'm rolling out a teeny tiny little triangle. I'm like pinching it into a tiny triangle shape, and then I'm adding that to the bottom so that we get this cute little mushroom, and it has dimension, and then it even glows in the dark. But yeah, it came out really cute. And then I'm adding like mushroom slices, so half little circles, half moons, and here is our mushroom omelet. Now using blue and orange clay, I'm going to flatten out a ball of orange, and I'm firmly pressing it down, and then I'm going to take my razor blade and sculpting out that like splattery thing that we've been doing for a lot of the omelets. And then I'm just going to sculpt it out, carve it out, flatten it, smooth out all of the edges, and then adding it onto the omelet. Taking some blue clay, and I kind of rolled out like 3 little teardrop shaped logs that were thick, and then I added it to the top of the omelet and then used alcohol to smooth everything out. So it made this like top of a fruit thing, you know, like strawberry leaves, like it was like blue little leaves. So I baked the clay, and then I went in and painted these black tiger lines on it. So it looks like a little tiger. You just draw black stripes all over it. Once you have all of your lines painted on, you have your tangy tiger squash omelet. Next one, it like triggered all these endorphins. I was like, wow, this one, I don't know, it made me hungry, it made me want to eat this, made me want to grill up an omelet. It was just so cute. So I'm taking this dark green, and I'm making these tiny little teardrop shapes. So once I cut a small ball, I'll firmly press while I'm rolling on one side of the ball so it elongates it and makes this like teardroppy shape. So once I have all of these teardrops, and I made them like some big ones, some small ones, some little ones, I'm going to place that all over the omelet, and then using my blade, I'm going to do a line right down the middle. Holding my blade at a slant, I'll add some more indentations onto the clay so you get this cute little leaf. And here is like our spinach, so we're creating some spinach. And yeah, I'm just like going in and adding some detail. This one just came to life. It was so freaking adorable, so cute. Then for the feta, I'm going to cut some translucent glow-in-the-dark clay. And I'm cutting like some thick little chunks, thick little slivers, cutting them into squares. And then I'm going to add those all over the clay. And I'm just firmly pressing them in so none of them fall off. And this one, I don't know, I was like, ooh, this one made me hungry. But here's our spinach and feta omelet. Next one, I'm taking red, green, and then that clay omelet color we've been using. I'm cutting out 6 little tiny pieces, rolling those out, and then I'm going to create a mushroom. So with my blade tool, my little tools, I'm going to sculpt this teeny tiny mushroom. So you want like half of a circle with like a little thick tail in the middle here. It's really simple to create. And then with the red and the green, I'm going to roll out a teeny tiny little log. Now placing all of those mushrooms all over the omelet. These mushrooms came out cute. I'm like, oh wow, this is really fun to make. And then I'm just firmly pressing them on, and now cutting out teeny tiny little bits of that red clay and adding it all over. Just placing them all over. I wanted to look really cute. And now going in with that green color and doing the exact same thing. Just cutting out teeny tiny little pieces. Now with the leftover clay, I'm going to roll those out into like thin little logs, firmly pressing them onto the clay in like a C shape. And then I'm going to create the number 3. So I'm going to use my needle tool to like shape it and sculpt it into a 3 so it looks like a pepper. So you like carve it into a moon, and then you press on the middle, and it creates this like number 3, and then you have a pepper. This one came out so freaking adorable. I know I've been saying that about all of them, but this Veggie Delight omelet, so cute. For the next one, I'm going to mix this sparkly purple with this lilac. I'm going to mix them together until they are fully mixed. And then I'm going to do the same exact omelet shape. So rolling a ball, flattening that out into a rectangle, folding it into this like taco with the little piece left over so that I could fold that over. The basic omelet shape that we know by now. And then sculpting it until it's like the perfect little omelet. And then you did see I pulled some excess off, and I'm going to use that excess to cut out teeny tiny little chunks. So I'm going to cut these chunks all the same length, like even size thickness, just cutting out teeny tiny little pieces. I'm going to add that all over the omelet. And this is going to be our Jolly omelet. I threw this one in there. It's like a mix between Jolly World versus Tyranian giant omelet, but this is a black cherry jelly omelet. So cute. Next, I'm mixing some translucent glow-in-the-dark clay with some yellow and orange clay. I'm gonna marble this, so I'm not gonna mix these all the way through, and then I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm gonna add some glow-in-the-dark clay into the red, but not mixing it fully, so it gets this like swirly marble. And then I'm going to add that red and glow-in-the-dark onto the omelet, but in like a rectangle. And then this one, I'm going to do like one of those splatters, but I'm just going to add it right on top. So you got this like weird layer of clay. And then I'm going to take some red paint and I'm going to add this all over. And this is going to be our pizza omelet. This was the hardest one just because the technique was like, how do I do this? Like, should I paint it on? This one confused me. I was just like, my brain cannot compute on how to do this, but this is the pizza omelet. Now I'm going to take this ball of vibrant red clay and I'm going to flatten it out. And I made this one a little thick just because I wanted like a nice, cute little thick omelet. And I'm using my ball tool to create that splatter shape that we made at the beginning of the video for like the rotten omelet. Using my ball tool, I'm going to keep sculpting and pushing in the clay just so I get this like really cool splattery, starry shaped effect, like this little shape that we've made before. And I'm just using my fingers to like smooth everything out, make sure it's nice and perfect. And I wanted it to like be super thick, and I added it onto the omelet. And then once you have this shape, you're going to take some yellow clay, and the first time around I made it a little too big, so I went back in and made all of these little shapes smaller, but I'm going to make the teardrop shape. So I'm rolling out a ball and then firmly pressing on one side and then pressing those onto the clay. But here you could see I made them way too big, so I made them teeny tiny like a sesame seed. And now we have our strawberry omelet. So for the next one, you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to roll out a ball of clay, flatten it out, and this time I'm using my razor blade just to like sculpt out that splattery shape that we've been making. And then I'm using my fingers to just smooth out all of the edges and adding it right on top of the omelet, firmly pressing it in, using my tool to just make sure it looks good. And here's our black croissant omelet. All right, let's do that again. So roll out a ball, flatten it out, use your razor blade to do that splattery shape again. See, we're going to use that shape like for almost half of these omelets. It's like the exact same thing. This one's a little different because it's the Chocado. I don't know how you say it. I think it's Chocado, like chocolate tomato, Chocado. And this one, the lines are a little weird. It kind of looks like a hand. It's like the same splatter shape, but just a little different. So I carved it out with the razor blade. Now I'm using some alcohol to like smooth it all out. And now I'm taking some of that chocolate brown and cutting little tiny chunks, rolling those into balls and covering the blue. Just adding these all over the blue to make this Chocado omelet. OMG, we are on our last omelet. So I'm taking this pearly white clay. Next, I am opening up this omelet because it is stuffed. And then once I have it nice and open, I'm going to take some clay, roll it into like a S shape, and then stuff it right up in there. And then press the omelet down so that it's secure and it stays in there. And for this one, I'm just adding like random globs of clay all over it. I'm doing like a S shape, a 3 shape, just covering it all up. This is like the marshmallow one. I got this clay at Michael's and it's like a pearly white. It's really, really pretty when you see it in person. The camera really isn't picking up the effect, but it's really gorgeous. Next, I'm going in with some alcohol and cleaning up all the clay because white clay attracts so much dust. And then once it's all done, all clean, we have our marshmallow omelet. Ah, so beautiful. Once I'm done sculpting all of the little omelets, I go ahead and I throw them in the oven and I bake them at 200 degrees for 1 hour. And this works good for me because I'm in Colorado, so like the elevation, I don't know, it does something, but that's how I do it. Next, once they're out of the oven and cooled down, I go in with some Mod Podge and I add a thick layer of glaze. Once you glaze these little omelets, they come to life. All of the colors pop. They just look good. You can tell all of the detail. They just look good. Like once you add a good gloss, it's over. But the Mod Podge isn't the greatest gloss, like isn't the greatest top coat. Sometimes I'll use clear nail polish because that really works good. And I use clear nail polish from Dollar Tree. But this time I was just like, oh, I'll use Mod Podge. But yeah, you can tell, especially on this like chocolate, that it really brings it to life and it like transforms it. They just look better shiny. So this is them all done, 100% done. They all look so beautiful. And that's the tutorial, so thank you guys so much for watching. I do have some videos of me playing Neopets on my YouTube channel, so be sure to check those out. Also, be sure to add me on Neopets. My name is XXPlutonianXX. I'll flash it here on the screen. All of the omelets came out so freaking cute. It inspired me to make more things from Neopia, so I'm going to do all of the jellies, and I'm going to do some of the spooky food as well. Maybe some of the fairy food. I'm just going to go hard and just like start sculpting Neopet stuff because it heals my inner child and makes me happy because I can like physically touch them and like play with them. If you send me an omelet, I'll send you an omelet, and then that's how I know you came from this video. And if you play Neopets, what's your favorite pet? No. What is your favorite omelet? My favorite has to be the chocolate omelet because it's so random. It's like, who would eat a chocolate omelet? Only in Neopets. So be sure to subscribe, leave me a comment of your favorite omelet. I just want to say I appreciate you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace out.